are just jamming in the background. Welcome to Take Center Stage and Own It. My name is Marissa Bloedoorn. I am your host. I'm the CEO of TCS Consulting LLC, and this is all things leadership and organizational development. This month, we are focusing on the SWOT analysis as it pertains to our leaders personally and why that's so important for leaders to check in. We are entering the first quarter of the year, and we want to do that assessment. A SWOT analysis is just that. It's an analytical approach to see how you're performing, where you are, and are you in alignment with the goals that you set out for the year, and how are you doing? If you're doing well, it's time to celebrate. If you're not doing so well, it's time to do some deep tissue work and finding out where you're going wrong or where you've gotten off track so that you can get back on track at the top of the year and still finish strong. And so with me is my girl, Jacqueline LuLu Brown. Girl, thank you so much for being with me this morning. I'm so excited to be here with you. And you have been traveling, child. So let's get you caught up, and then let's go deep into the SWOT analysis. So you just finished going and doing your retreat in Dubai. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So the retreat in Dubai was just it was my retreat, but I'm sorry, I just have to say it was fabulous. But that was based on the feedback. So very seriously, I did ask the attendees, because in the beginning, we wanted to understand, why were people there? Were they there just to say that they went to Dubai? Or were they there for the reason that I picked Dubai? Were they there to truly go back, transformed with a different mindset? And we had our night, and thank you for being there, because you gave us those inspirational words as well. And folks really were intentional. And by the time the week was up, people were able to say, yes, I did get what I came for. And I wanted to make it fun. We did not want to have, because it wasn't a conference, it was a retreat.
Yeah, it was.
We didn't want to have people locked in a conference room all day long, because it wasn't a conference. And we had our sessions in the morning. We had our lunch, and then people were either going out on their own, or they were going along wherever I was going. And it was really great. It was really great. And then we had excursions built in there. And, you would think that the highlight would have been the dinner in the desert with the camel ride, because we had about a 45-minute camel ride out in the desert. And then we came back, and this compound, I'm going to say, was just so nice and so beautiful. It wasn't overcrowded. And you had your little private tents and things and tables to sit at. And I thought that that was going to be the highlight. But the feedback was that Abu Dhabi and the mosque was the highlight. People just were amazed. I think that they felt the awe of being in such a spiritual place. And while we were there, it was Ramadan. And so the atmosphere was a lot different. And just being there, it wasn't touristy. You really got a spiritual sense of where you were, because this isn't about religion. So you can be Muslim, you can be Christian, you can be Hindi, you can be Catholic, Protestant, whatever. But when your mind is open and your heart is open, and you realize that religion should not be barriers that separate us, because it's not about religion, it's about relationship. Right. So those that were on the trip, they knew that. They knew what relationship with God, creator, whatever anyone's name is for their higher power. They understood it was about relationship, and they enjoyed that. We went to the president's palace, and I think that just wowed everyone. It was like, is this like crazy or what? And I'm talking about good crazy. And so I think that, in the very fun and funny shopping excursions
Old Souk, honey. That was fun. And we went many times.
Yes, yes,
We
yes,
went many
yes.
times. But before you go into the Old Souk, I want to
Hmm.
back you up a little bit because
Okay.
just like you said, I was there as
Hmm.
well. And one thing I want to do is I want to give you your honors. And
Oh,
you
thank you.
put on a phenomenal trip from start to finish. Phenomenal. What a wealth of information and knowledge you have. Even to the natives there, they were even impressed, and they said it of how much you've known it. You've gone countless times, or nearly 20 times. You've been to Dubai,
Mhm.
so this is not new to you, and you felt it as one of your attendees as well as facilitators. You felt safe with you because to go to the Old Souk, uh, you got to know what you're doing going there because they mean business to make money, and they are not aggressive, but they want to make money. So they are what is persuasive,
Intentional still.
persuasive, very intentional, highly
Hmm.
persuasive. Um, but they respected you, and then they respected us because you knew how to negotiate with them. You made it very clear that we weren't here for commercialism, that we were here to get in touch with and connect with the culture. That showed a lot of respect. And when you show a culture that's different from yours, that level of respect, in turn, that respect is given. So we were treated like queens because of your leadership. So I want to give you that kudos for that. And two, you kept us on top of our game. There was no time to be tired because every moment of the day, it wasn't all about being busy. You were very, very intentional. You didn't take us to things that we could do here in the US. You took us so that we really got to respect the culture, the diversity of spirituality, and the mosque, forget it. Hands down, priceless beauty. I mean, extravagant architecture. You saw extravagant architecture through our whole trip. I hate to say it, but Dubai puts New York skyscrapers, or you know what I'm saying.
Yes,
It's a shame
yes.
because of the care that is given to the buildings to make sure that they maintain their integrity and original conditions. That's important for you to show architects that you really respect their work and in the integrity of their work by taking care of, no matter how long they've been built, taking care of their maintenance, make sure they look good, crisp, and new. And I know that Dubai is kind of young in all of its architecture and everything like that, but still you sense the level of respect that they have for their culture, for the things that they do there. And that is something that we can appreciate because for those like myself who've never been to Dubai,
Mhm.
you know, you taught me how to be there. The way that you prepared us even before we went on the trip to tell us the do's, the don'ts, the culture. Because I traveled alone. Remember, I
Right,
traveled to and fro alone.
right.
And I did not, because of the wealth of information and how you prepared us, I didn't feel uncomfortable doing that. And so that felt good to me. And the president's palace, I think it was Crystal, right, that I was with.
Yes, it was.
We
Yes.
went to all the different rooms. So we went into the room where they do their presidential meetings.
Right.
And when you say banquet, that's kings. That's a king's palace. You might as well say the king's palace, not the president's palace. But I can almost imagine because there's five kings right in that area. Um,
Yes.
I can only, if the president's palace looks like that, I can almost only imagine what the king's palaces look like. And when I say to you guys, impeccable, impeccable, the
Yes.
architecture, you almost feel a little taste of what heaven could look like
That's
on
right.
the earth. On the
That's
earth.
true.
When you talk about palaces and you talk about feasts and you talk about banquets and you think about those things, truly, truly a blessing. I can't say it enough. Even my quarters where I stayed, beautiful, 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 beautiful. was very, very intimate, our group. And we flowed. And just like you said, and okay,
Yes.
the food. Just like you said, as long as you're open to other cultures and don't be closed to other cultures, because guess what? You'll miss out on the good food.
Exactly.
When I say to you, I still had pounds on me. I got after my conference next week, I gotta go in hard on this body, just to get it back to some kind of shape. But fed you from the flights all the way to each and everything, that the hotel, the spreads, endless foods, endless food do you eat? The dinner in the desert. Oh my God, they had a whole banquet hall for us
Yes.
to go and pick and choose and select what we wanted. And then afterwards, they had a whole spread of desserts that you can have afterwards. And then also too, again, access to some of the culturally oriented gifts that you can purchase. So you had opportunities. We had the henna done. That was
Yes.
really nice
Oh,
too. That was a nice experience. And I only think last week was when mine's finally rubbed off. And so just just coming from a place of you know having so much respect for the fact that you know the culture so well, and not only that, you have a heart for the culture.
yes, I do.
You have a
Yes, I
heart for the culture. There's a difference. There's a difference in just going to Dubai and hanging out and kicking it. And there's going and really truly valuing the culture, the people, and the experience. And I have to say that you are no joke, sister. And I have so much respect for you as a leader in that
thank you.
capacity. And thank you very much for educating us, educating us and allowing us the opportunity to experience at the level, the high
Mhm,
class level,
mhm.
that you do things. And so kudos, sis. I just had to chime in there. Now, you also did not come back here after Dubai.
No, I didn't.
Because all I could say when I was back in the US for the little week that I was, I don't know how she's doing it, because I was sleeping. I was supposed to be doing work in the US in regards to collecting things in the US for here, the conference here, that I can't get here.
Right,
And I had to fight to stay awake long enough because that jet lag was kicking in.
right.
I'm saying, how is she doing it in beautiful pictures? Oh my God, the pictures that I was like, if we was doing something in Dubai, she done went over to Johannesburg and she done did something totally. She looked so refreshed over there. So tell us, and then we'll go into the SWAT. Tell us
Sure.
about Johannesburg.
Sure. So, I have to give a shout out to Dr. Duranche Zorn, from Kingdom Strategist, and I am her international. So she was, as you know, with us in Dubai. And I had made a conscious decision. She goes to Africa, South Africa, and other parts of Africa multiple times a year because that's her outreach work that she does. And I had made just intentional that I was going to not just support her. I am her international gala and the things that I support on a yearly basis in celebration every March. But I wanted to make sure that I actually went over there because while we know we have our businesses, but my thing is, what's the money for? And the money in the revenue, okay, yeah, it's great. We know that we have to sustain ourselves. We have our homes. So we know the money is for us to live and for us to have some of the things that we want because we deserve that.
Right.
But for me, the money and the overflow is for philanthropy. I mean, that is my heart. Ministry is my heart. And I tell people, don't get it twisted. Because you see me ministering somewhere in outreach does not mean Revolution Ascension went anywhere. It does not mean that I am a executive leader coach. empowerment for women. It does not take away from that at all. It actually just expands what I do. I do one thing in from a philanthropy perspective, but then my business is my business. And so when we got to South Africa, I give Deranche so much credit because she gave us like some light days in there. So when we arrived in Johannesburg, she arranged for someone to come to the house and to do this photo shoot.
Yeah.
And it was just to relax us. It was like, okay, put on a couple of different outfits. I just want us. And so we were in this beautiful Airbnb and we just put on clothes and just relaxed. And someone came to take pictures and we met this lovely couple. They had only been married like maybe, I don't know, 3 months, I think they said. And
Yeah.
he's a photographer and they're young. Everybody's young. Everybody's young enough to be, my children. My children are older
I
than them.
know. That's how
So
I
yes.
feel.
And so it's like we gained a son and a daughter. And his wife was the sweetest. Oh my God. I was like, oh, and then they quote, they melt your heart when they hug you and they say, mama. And when you
Oh,
say mama to me, I'm toast at that point. You can get anything, it's like, oh yes, I'm mama.
I know that's the truth.
So we took some time in Johannesburg while we did do some work and experience the culture there. And when we got ready to go to Durban, and that's where things really heat up. That's where the work from sun up to sundown in the mission and in the field, morning, afternoon, and also night. That's when that starts. And when we went to Durban, we actually had someone to drive us. And so we found someone that was willing. It's 6 hour drive.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, you didn't know it was 6 hours because you're experiencing the country from
Yes.
Johannesburg
Beautiful.
to
Yeah.
Durban. And you're experiencing these mountains and you're experiencing the beauty of the country. So once we arrived in Durban, now, the sad thing is that we live in a world, and it's not just in the United States or the islands or India or Africa. We still live in a world of the haves and the have-nots.
Yep.
And so you could experience wealth in Durban. We saw some very wealthy areas, and you knew you were in a wealthy area because when
It's
we
obvious.
met at the mall where someone was taking us to dinner, and when you walked in the mall, you didn't see anything other than Versace, Gucci, all those stores. There were no other stores other than those. So that area, they said, is very, very prominent and very wealthy. But then we're working in the area where we're out at night. And of course, we have security and
Right.
people that are the humanitarians. And we met some awesome humanitarians. And super shout out to the pastors that we were working with, Pastor Kevin, and his humanitarian outreach is something that I would need to write a book about. That
Mm.
that's how fabulous it is.
Wow.
And then we were also connected with Pastor Quentin, and we had a parade on Easter Sunday where we actually went into the area. So we marched
Mm.
and had a parade to celebrate the resurrection, but we were also letting people know that there is hope.
Yeah.
And then there was Pastor Felix, and we ministered. And all these ministers and humanitarians are in different areas. So they're anywhere from 40 minutes to, let's say, maybe 60 minutes away from each other.
Wow.
And the heart, I'm going to say, wrenching part is when you see the level of poverty.
Hmm.
And just to be real and raw, because that's who I am, I asked the question, not to insult anyone. I said, could you help me understand after apartheid? Okay. Can you help me understand what is the real benefit from an economic perspective for Africans, Black Africans?
Mm.
Or as you'll hear people still refer to people as the Blacks.
Mm.
Things are, and that's that's just terminology from going way back. But you'll hear people refer to them as the blacks. So I said, well, how has things changed economically for the blacks? And even though Durban may just be one place, Johannesburg may just be one place, I honestly don't see where they're benefiting economically. Are they getting help? Yes. And the humanitarian efforts in the churches are the ones that are really reaching out and doing that work. And they have a strong belief that it is not, and I've always felt this way, it is not the government's job to take care of the poor. So they stand on that scripture where Jesus talks about the poor and taking care of the poor, and that the poor will always be with us. Right. And they quote that, and they are very firm that we don't believe in arguing and fighting with any government, because it is the role of the people of God that have to give to those that don't have. And they didn't just talk about it. I mean, we handed out everything from food, meals, different, let's say, age groups. So we did the elderly one day. We did children and women another day. There's vitamins. There are boxes and boxes of zinc and vitamin C that are specific for the children to boost their immune system. We went to I guess you can say, another humanitarian place where they have a trailer, and there are people in a village area that they help with everything from abuse, rape, AIDS, COVID. They address education. They address a lot. So we were up in the morning, out all day, and going out in the evening at night. And sometimes, you come back and you shower, and then you have to go to the church because there may be something going on there where we were teaching and we were praying. So I would say there were rallies outside, and everything that we did, people wanted one main thing, and that was prayer. They just came, and sometimes you would look up, like, you look up, and all of a sudden you're kind of like, the line is still growing. And there were multiple of us, but that's what this mission is all about. It's one, first of all, you can't get through to anyone when they're hungry. So it's about lending our bodies physically and our strength and our minds to, one, assist in feeding, two, now you can have a conversation, pray, and help people to understand there's hope. And then the other piece was just teaching and, providing to them. There's so much that we can do to help. There's another one, but Fiverr is just the one that I could think of. But, I think about how we go to Pakistan or India for these services for making flyers, marketing, creating websites, whatever that might be. And there's no reason why we can't empower these women to do the same thing. And so I love the fact that I Am Her International is looking at that. Deranche is a technologist. So she's many things, but a technologist is one of them. And just building classrooms where we can literally go and teach these women how to start an online business. Why can't they be a web developer? Right. Especially when you have someone that can teach them. And why can't they earn the same clientele that people are utilizing in India and Pakistan? Right. So that piece of just really doing something was just so fulfilling. So we were there obviously for, oh my gosh, I want to say 20 days after being in Dubai for a week. Yeah. So
that was a lot. That was, I really applaud. I was like, Lord, and you know how we are. I'm praying for you. I'm like, Lord, give her whatever she needs, she needs.
Thank you.
To her, because one thing is for sure is like when you have gone through
Yes.
something, you understand the need of someone else. And
Yes.
when you understand the need and you have empathy or compassion for that,
Mm-hmm.
you feel it. And I
Yes.
was like, oh my God, she's gotta get filled up. Like, Lord, you have to
Yes.
fill her up so that she can pour out. And just, it was really great to see your communications, to know that you were okay, to
Yeah.
know that you were full of energy. But there's
Yes.
something about the adrenaline. There's something
Yes.
about the adrenaline and wanting to make an impact and a difference. That's why I say to folks all the time, don't get it twisted. Own it is not about being cute. It's not a
Right.
cute statement. It
Right.
is a statement of a full heart conviction to
Yes.
say, I want to own all of who I am so that I can go out and help other people do the same. So they
Right.
are free from any conviction externally and
Yes.
internally so that they can do everything that God put them on the earth to do. We do
Yes.
not have time to go through identity crisis. We have got
No.
to be on agenda. There are so many out there that are in need of us to rise up, to take
Yes.
center, come out of the shadows and take center
Yes.
stage and own it so that we can empower them. I'm so looking forward to being with you there next year.
Oh,
Myself,
yes.
I'm really looking forward to that. And so, with all of that being said, and there's so much more, and you can listen, guys. Go to Jacqueline Lulu Brown's Facebook page. Follow her, get connected, watch what she's doing, see all the videos, see all the images. Africa, beautiful. I mean,
Yes.
stunning photos. Just really, really impressive. And thank you for your service and giving. And as we shift over into leadership and SWOT and why leaders need to take a personal assessment of who they are, how they're being effective leading oneself, as well as leading those who they are assigned to lead, whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in the community, whether it's in your household. Leaders have to take assessment. They have to do the introspective work that's necessary and required for sustainability, not only just so that you show up in performance well, but that you know yourself well enough to know when you need to go and work and do, and when you need to retreat, refresh, and rejuvenate. And so let's go into that. The SWOT analysis, we are at the beginning of the year. We're still at the top of the year. We're ending up our first quarter of the year. And we're focusing on the SWOT and why that's so important for leaders to, I'm going to chime in on this. But Jacqueline, I'm going to let you start off first. But I want to say thank you, Elaine, for watching us this morning. Elaine Scales is making all these comments. Amen. Absolutely. And thank you, Lulu, for your service, Jacqueline, for your service. And so we just want to say, we want to acknowledge those who are viewing us and say thank you to taking the
Yes.
time out. We know this is part of the workday, but you can always come back and watch the full interview. You can watch it anytime. It's always on my main Facebook page. We're on LinkedIn this morning live. We're on Facebook, multiple different groups on Facebook. And so by all means, look at us, the full story. Lulu, you're getting ready to also do something in Aruba. So make sure, we're not going to go into that, but make sure that if that is something, if you think she did something in Dubai, wait to see what we're getting ready to do in Aruba. So you want to make sure you connect with Jacqueline and you want to inbox her and say, hey, I'm interested in learning more about Aruba. Be sure to do that. She has a lot that's coming up. And if you want to get involved and you want to learn more, not just being in international space, but also knowing and diving into the culture of that space and
Mm-hmm.
doing the deep tissue mindset reset
Mm-hmm.
work that's necessary. Please be by all means reach out to her directly. And oh, awesome. Elaine says she is there. And girl, listen, I'm telling you, and listen, having Elaine there is your she's mindfulness. So she
Yes.
gets you that center place. And so
Mm-hmm.
we want you front and center. You already know that. So
Yes.
so
Yes,
very
Elaine, we are doing something called stretch and release every morning. Everybody, yoga's not comfortable for everyone. And so we said, I think I'm going to do a stretch and release So yes, Elaine, we want you there, please.
Yes, we want you in the house. And so now, Lulu, talk to us. Why do leaders, why do organizations want their leaders to do the personal SWOT analysis?
So, one, leaders need to understand where they are. You can focus on the organization and you can say, okay, let's look at, what the opportunities are, what the weaknesses are. So I'm one that changes language.
Mhm.
So I encourage when I'm speaking, coaching, or even consulting with executive leadership, I ask them, we know what it means, but can we change the language, especially when you're looking to go to the opportunities? Because I don't believe in weaknesses. So I'd love for someone to come up with something else to put in there, and it becomes a pseudo standard, and the next thing you know, it's a standard. But because weaknesses automatically provoke a psychological reaction when you tell someone that they have a weakness versus a development opportunity. It's just an opportunity to develop to the next level. What's important for the leader is to look at themselves personally from a SWOT perspective.
Mhm.
And because we are in a world where we throw the word diversity out there, but I challenge leaders, how much do you know about that culture? Because if you don't understand, and when I say understand the culture, I mean you've spent time with people. I mean you have understood what their culture is like in the home. How does the family as a unit function and operate? Do they have a hierarchy? Do women and men have different roles? What is unique about that culture? Because when you can then lead from that perspective, now, and I know this from experience, that as they say, the proof is in the pudding. I can give you names of people you can just call up and they can say, oh, yeah, we remember Jackie. Learning that culture is important. If you have employees that are in India, you need to understand the culture more than just telling the leader, okay, here's the SWOT, and this is what we want you to do. There needs to be more understanding of, okay, how do we tap into their culture so that they are so comfortable that they are constantly exceeding their goals.
Mhm.
And it starts at the cultural level. Some may disagree with me, but like I said, the proof is in the pudding.
Yep.
When you get to know, because as you said, there's a level of respect that comes.
Oh yeah.
So with that additional respect, it's not to say that they don't respect you as the leader in the organization. But when you begin to identify with the culture and let people know, not only do you identify with their culture, you let them know, I've taken time out to learn your culture, and you respect their culture. At that point, the loyalty, it's endless.
It is.
That is a motivation that you can't put a price tag on.
No.
They are going to perform. They are going to exceed. And they are going to continuously, you're not going to have to tell them what they need to do and what their opportunities are or things like that.
No.
They're going to already know that. So even though the SWOT is for the organization per se, and it comes down the layers and filters out, and actions are assigned and taken by leaders, the people below them and the people below them, so that the organization begins to execute in
Mhm.
all of the information that's been given in the SWOT. I think what's missing is the true understanding of diversity,
Mhm.
because it's not the color of your skin, it's not your ethnic background, and it's not something that you just check the box, which unfortunately some people may disagree, but again, how can I say, life experience, many times it's a check in the box, and it should be much more than that. So those are my thoughts from a leadership perspective where the SWOT is concerned.
Yeah, and you do a lot of tapping in on leader member exchange and connectivity, because understanding diversity and culture is connecting with your people. It's really getting that deep connection that's required. We always look at high performance teams, and high performance teams are successful because they get it's group think. So it's group think. It's very family oriented because they spend a lot of excessive time together. So they care about each other. They have compassion and empathy for each other. And so my agenda here is to kind of get leaders to understand that they should be cultivating a high performance team. Whether you are at the management level, supervisory level, team lead, I'm talking about the lower places of the organization, really, which is the heartbeat of the organization. The heartbeat and the real substance of the organization that keeps it up and going is management, it is supervisors, it is team leads, it's your admins. It's that low level that keeps them. And that's why I appreciate how I came up. I came up out of admin. And because I came up out of admin, it is the reason why I am independently as successful as I am today. Self-reliant. My skill set is expansive. Even expansive beyond my own management. That's why I got to do a SWOT every day. I can't just do a SWOT, every once in a while. I got to tap in every day because of my skill set and my ability to do so much and get so much done. I have to self-regulate and draw myself in. And I got to know when I need to, concede and say, hey, delegate. You got to give this to someone else, and you got to trust that they can get it done. Now, I want to say to the SWOT, as we come to a close, because this has been full. This has been a full interview, but we needed to digest what you just did. So we're just coming back together again. So we really needed to digest all of what you've been doing and just get you back into the TCS realm. But with me for the SWOT analysis, I know you're my girl, so I already know how you feel about weaknesses and threats and some of the wording. But I'm going to charge. If we can never change, or we cannot change any kind of word, you're going to have to know yourself enough to know what triggers you, what makes you tick and ticks you off, and how to navigate around that. So let's say if you cannot get rid of the term or the word weakness, understand this, that your threats and your weaknesses are not going to go away. You have to understand it. And why are they not going to go? And why should you be okay with that? Because each time you level up, guess what? You're going to have new weaknesses and you're going to have new threats. What they are designed to do is to be a part of your learning, growth, and development process. I like how Paul said it without getting religious, right? Count it all joy when diverse trials and tribulations come your way. Be of good cheer, because you are going to, your character is what you want to cultivate and to develop, to understand how do you take that weakness and turn it into a strength. How do you embrace that and say, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm weak in this area. That's all. It's all good. It's just a time for me to think, use my critical thinking as to how do I turn this to work in my favor. What resources do I have that will strengthen me? That is critical thinking, right? And intuitiveness. You got to be intuitive enough to know what's at your fingertips as a leader. What are your threats? What is threatening you? And let's talk about ego. What's threatening your ego? Because sometimes if you're not careful as a leader and you let something threaten your ego, it will bring you down from your throne of leadership. You gotta be careful then not to be messing around with the small things, the small-minded things. You're a leader, so you should be looking at the bigger picture. Stop messing around with low-level stuff. because it reduces your character. It takes you down from your character. And that's not where you want to be if you are trying to level up. If you're on an agenda, if you're on an agenda to make certain results. I like how my old boss used to say it, food top down. He used to say, Marissa, eat humble pie. Eat humble pie, right? That is a proverb, I'm pretty sure. He was, I think he's Chinese, dark skinned Chinese, but he's Chinese. And he used to say to me, because I'm a straight shooter, always been. And Futop used to do some crazy stuff at AT&T. Put me in some crazy compromising ethically and because we were in marketing and analysis, right? Marketing and research. And so, he used to say to me, Marissa, eat humble pie. There is a time where you need to look at things from a gracious place, a place of grace, right? And say, is it worth it? Don't think small-minded, leaders. This is part of that work, that SWOT analysis. If you are allowing your ego to get into your emotions, now you are making things a threat that are not a threat. If you're in leadership, it's not a threat. It's just an opportunity to either address an issue from a factual place and a place of developing performance and not a place of attack. And so we have to be careful of our own egos. And we all have them. Men and women have egos. Men and women have pride. And that pride is where that ego is. And sometimes we can allow that pride and how we feel and being slighted. And now we're getting into, punching matches with our mouth. And we're missing the development opportunity, the opportunity for growth in character and growth in performance. And so those are my thoughts on the SWOT analysis. We got to recognize that sometimes things are not going to change for us. They may be changed in the process, but they're not going to be changed for us. And when they're not changed for us immediately, how do we navigate around that? How do we navigate above that so that we can continue to learn and grow in our character, which ultimately improves our performance and how we show up for ourselves and our people? This has been great. I'm going to leave you, Jacqueline, LuLu, for your closing remarks, but I pretty much summed up my position on the SWOT analysis for our leaders. So any closing thoughts you may have?
I just want to echo what you said, is that we can't take things personally. And always remember that when we internalize things personally, that does take us to a weaker place. That you're absolutely right. Now there is a threat because you've made it a threat by taking it personal. And the other thing I would say is we cannot lead from a insecure or painful place. We've got to do that introspective as leaders, because when you're leading from a place of pain, and when you're leading from a place of disappointment or even feeling threatened, it doesn't make you an effective leader. So it's really dealing with those things. And, someone may say, well, I don't have anything going on. I'm not leading from a place of pain. Analyze the things that have truly disappointed you, and everyone is not a great leader. I often say I was fortunate enough to have and learn and be mentored by some really great leaders. But then I had some really bad leaders, really bad. So I learned some things from really bad leaders, because you can learn what not to do. And so I've seen people lead from ego, lead from insecurity, lead from a place of pain because something has happened in their career that they have not dealt with. And, they've been just that thing has just been festering on the inside. Now it's affecting you from a mental perspective, and you're not being as effective as you can be. So I would just echo what you said, but just remind people that as leaders, we always learn more, we go higher. I guarantee you the person at the highest level is still able to
Right.
learn something.
Yep.
They're not sitting there in their feelings and, okay, well, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. You have to be able to lead, but make sure that you're not leading from a place of disappointment or pain. And if you are, you know what? Every leader is got somebody talking to them, helping them. I
Right.
had someone say to me one day, I said, well, my messages, and I'm a little bit different and radical in my coaching, consulting with leadership. I really take people all the way out the box. And, the box, I go deep into the abyss of the ocean.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm like, I'm not traditional, but that's how I was always able to get extraordinary, phenomenal results. And
Mhm.
so I said, but it's not popular. A lot of times people don't want to go through that process. And she said, you know what? She said, people have to realize that no matter how high up they are, somebody has to be speaking and helping them in their life. She
Yeah.
said, do you think Oprah gets up every morning? She said, trust me, Oprah got somebody speaking to her.
Yep.
Oprah has somebody coaching her. She
Yeah.
says, if you think that Oprah gets up every day and Oprah is just Oprah, she said, you don't stay with that level of success and you don't have
So
someone
visionary.
continuously helping you in your journey of success and prosperity. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. We all need that. We all need to be real with ourselves. Stop running from yourself.
Right. Right.
That's the key. Stop running from yourself and just
Mhm,
keep it real. You know what's going on with you.
mhm,
Just keep it real with you. And as you feel led, then you seek out the help that you need to have. As you embrace who you are, and you building up that restoration with inside internally, then you can feel more and more confident to
mhm,
share your vulnerability. But you have to own that first. You have to own that internally first and be okay that you're not perfect. Be okay that you are who you are. Just like you said, you got to own your authenticity and be
mhm.
unapologetic. That's own it
Right.
unapologetic. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Lulu and I, we could talk forever because we are just, and we can be enlightened by each other, be enlightened by your comments. We want to hear from you. Make sure you're commenting. Don't keep your mouth quiet. A shut mouth don't get fed. So we need to hear you. We need to hear from you. We want to, if there's any topics that you would like us to cover or talk about, if you would like to be on the show, just let us know. Message me or go to interview me on it at gmail.com. And we would love to have you on live with us to talk about organizational development. This platform is organizational development. Our other platforms have other things that's going on. So anyway, we love you so very much. This is a Thursday morning, and we just want to say have a blessed and a phenomenal end to your week, and enjoy your weekend. Be safe out there in the world. Until next week, we'll say, and you'll be here in the DR next week.
Yes.
We won't go live at 10 a.m., but we will be going live from the DR right here live for the Own It Unapologetically conference, anthology conference retreat. We're excited. So take care. We're out.